Hi, this is Talon Jane. This is my FTT 210 week 4 practical application submission video. For this week, my references are going to be the Muzzleloader Lab. We're going to be going over the preliminary brass cleanup. We're going to inlet the lock as well as inlet the butt and toe plates. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today is April 16th. So we're gonna go ahead and get this finished. All right, thanks, bye. Okay, we'll begin with unboxing. So to start, we have the rifle itself. This is, I don't know if you can see that there. The Traditions Shenandoah is what was provided by the school. So we have, if we can get this over here. Pretty tight. Barrel, ramrod, and the stock. A few other things here. So in this bag, guard, but that is the name eludes me. Lock, trigger, and piece up there. That goes back there. That goes right there. All right. A little bag of baubles here. Looks like maybe a front sight post. I would think that would be the front sight post. Rear sight post. Not sure what those are. They look like sight posts, but they're probably, they might go up underneath there and hold it. Figure that out. Little spring thing here, assortment of screws and washers. Okay. All right. We've got some chisels here, palm chisels. Okay. And it's like a muzzleloader bore light. And some Prussian blue, looks like it leaked a little bit there. Alright, I think that's everything we need to get started.
I lost some of the video when it came to inletting the lock. However, you should be able to get the point of what's going on. You're using the Prussian blue and applying it to the high spots of the lock. And then as you put it back into the stock, your goal is to try and remove the parts that are binding and keeping it from being able to go in and out easily. The instructions have a slightly different looking stock than what was actually provided. I think what was provided was a little easier than what it shows in the pictures. They seem to have made some improvements, but overall I'm pretty happy with how this came from the factory. It was all but inlet, just had to basically clear out a little bit for it to be able to go in and out relatively easily. You want to continuously check the action and make sure that it still functions in there. bonus points if you can figure out how many times I took the lock in and put the lock out in this video alone. Alright, to get started, we'll take off the soft jaws off the vise. We mounted single screw into the 2x4. We'll put that into the vise. Nice thing about this particular vise is you can adjust it so that it's at the angle for me. Lock it in. Now that's solid and I can begin filing. While filing, my goal is to get a perfectly flat surface that's parallel, and so I'm gonna go up until I get to that corner, and then when I go to do this side, I'll probably try to protect this. So for this next part, it's probably gonna be all fast forward, but we'll see if we can't get you into a good angle there where you can see what I'm working on here. So what we have here is this is all smoothed out, and along here, nice and clean. You might want to just take the little corner edge right there. It's got a little spot in it. We might go just a hair more. Other side looks good. Once again, it looks like I lost some of the video when it came to this inletting process. However, I do have a lot of it, so what you're going to see is basically me trying to even it out and build the space out, and then eventually I use the Prussian blue and you kind of carve away where the brass is at so that the wood goes up inside the brass a little bit. That keeps any light from shining through as well. In the end, we got a really good inlet, which I think you'll see. Inletting is a perfectionist game. It is long, kind of painstaking process of removing thousandths of an inch of material at a time so that you don't overdo it. However, when you're finished, you end up with something that's really cool, how the two types of material, the wood and the brass, marry perfectly to each other. This was an interesting process and not something that I'd done before. This vise that I'm using here, the master vise, you can see just the way I turn it towards the camera, is phenomenal for this job, being able to move it around and kind of hold it in different positions while you're working on it. The video that had the completion of the inletting of the butt plate as well as the inletting of the toe plate is missing. So what you're going to see here in a moment is me attaching the toe plate. Basically, the toe plate for inletting, you need to grind an angle on one side that matches up with the butt plate. The butt plate at this point is already screwed on, and I'm basically just aligning the toe plate, making sure it's in the right places, and then drilling so that I can attach it. I'm using candle wax as my lubricant, and make sure that you use the right size screwdriver. As soon as I finish screwing in the toe plate, I'll demonstrate how well the entire thing is inlet.
So we can tip this up so you can see that we've got this fully inlet here, along here, screwed in, and this is fully inlet and matches up nicely at the end there. Our lock is fully inlet in here, so that goes in, comes out nicely, no creaking or anything. So we've got a fully inlet lock and a fully inlet butt plate and a fully inlet toe plate. Okay, so the only thing we have left for week 4 is the rest of our preliminary brass cleanup. So we'll get to that now. These things, don't mess with these. We'll get into that probably next week's lesson when we're doing that front part there. So for now, for brass cleanup, we did the toe plate, the butt plate, and we're going to do the trigger. And for the trigger, it's not too bad already the way it comes. In fact, the part that would show looks pretty good. It's relatively clean. There's not a lot of mess up. There's a little casting mark right there we'll get off, and maybe just a couple of little spots kind of down inside of these grooves here, but in general it's in pretty good shape. The underside, however,
which, like I said, isn't necessarily the part that you would see, does need some work, and along these sides where they're going to fit in need some work. But I want to be real careful, so as much as I might want to take a bunch off of here, when I kind of do a real quick look here at how tightly that fits, I don't really want to take off too much on the sides here because it fits so flush already, and I can't add wood back in. So what I'll do is clean up this front bit, and then what I'll do back here is something similar. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, and we are finished up with the preliminary brass cleanup, which concludes our week 4 portion of this muzzleloader build. So we cleaned up all of the casting marks and basically got this to about a 300 grit for the trigger guards, and for the butt plate and the toe plate, and we've inlet those, so those are on there perfectly now. Let's see if I can show you how much. That looks like a gap, but it's just the inlet black, inlet blue, or whatever. Probably see better on this side, but it's perfectly cleaned up on there. We inlet our lock, so that fits on there nicely without any creaking or anything. Comes off. So that's done, and that concludes week 4, which is the part 1 of this muzzleloader build. Thanks.